I was over at a friend's television shop and helping him clean up. He's pulling the plug after 48 years in the business. And I came across this in a box. And I just started laughing at the cheesy name and graphics on it. The Sonic Servant. Right? And we got to get right in on that and get a picture of that for the thumbnail. So there she is, the Sonic Servant. Now what this is this is an intercom, the main part of a residential house intercom. And these were really popular in the 50s and 60s in houses out here. I'm not really sure what the use would be. Look at the UL right at the top there. That was probably something fresh and cutting edge when this came out. Anyway, our house here has one, and I'll show you one of the remote terminals that goes with this. And I'm not quite exactly sure what this thing was. You could play music through the different units in the different rooms, or when somebody comes up to the door, you could buzz them and talk to them through the intercom. I'm not quite sure. These were probably a novelty, and most of them, I believe, that I've seen were made by Newtone. You can see how relevant ours is these days. But anyway, check out the spider webs. So we've even got some fresh spider action in here. Anyway, yeah, so this was one of the remote units, and these were in, well, I should go in and show you one that's in the bedroom. But anyway, I guess there was listen and talk. So when someone came up to the door, if you had this thing on, I mean, I could just see today someone's banging on the door all impatient. You got to turn it on, wait for the tubes to warm up. So this is one of the remote units in one of the bedrooms, and ours is a Newtone. And what I believe you could do is, ours is AM FM. You could put on an FM radio station and listen to it in every room in the house. Here's another one in another one of the bedrooms. And this is the Newtone head unit. This one's a bit more sophisticated than the Sonic Servant. Someday I'll do a repair video on this. Anyway, back to the Sonic Servant. Somebody probably was so excited to have this in their new home in the 50s. Let's take a look at it. I'm not exactly sure how this works, I'll admit that. I think there's two-way communication between this and the remote units, and this you can play music through the remote units. The Sonic Servant. So cheesy. Today, that would be considered racist, and it would be owed reparations. Anyway, I want to resurrect this thing and just make it work. Love that. You could tell it was wired into the house. And these are all the remote terminals here. The Sonic Servant. No schematic on this, no data, no duh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bulbs. And we have 6 bulbs. And instead of a 50C5, this has a 50L6. Maybe they wanted a little bit more power. I don't know how they do this. Is this like a 70-volt line deal? How do they do this? So this uses it uses two 12AV6s, a 50L6 output, and am I shaking enough? Is that like annoying? 12BA6. So we're missing a couple vacuum bulbs here. We're missing a 12BE6 and 12AV6. I should be able to find some of those. And I just want to resurrect it and see it work. Interesting, it didn't have a bar antenna. This was probably in a metal can in the wall, and this is probably, the depth of this will fit in a standard 2x4 wall between the plaster on one side without this, you know, the back of this bumping up against the can. To be UL listed, it would have to be in a metal can. You'd never have something like this in the middle of a wall. So you can see it's got a terminal here for an antenna wire. So the Sonic Servant, let's see if it will sonically serve me once again. Okay, so here's the underside of the Sonic Servant. Looks like we have two audio output transformers. There's one there and there's one up here. And let's see, we have our, I'm sure, defective paper filter capacitor there. Cardboard tube. Filter cap. 2 gang IF. This is probably not something you would see in a rural farmhouse, but who knows. Let me find some tubes and we'll see if it will serve up some Sonics. Okay, the bulbs have been populated. Now the rules with this are, it's just a resurrection. I'm not going to recap it. I'm not going to do any maintenance type work on it. I'm just going to see if I could get it to work. The speaker looks completely baked. You can see light through it. So I don't expect this thing to be very sound very servant-like. So let's power it up. We have powered it up and it is drawing current and the vacuum bulbs are illuminating. 19 watts. There we go. Really? 19 watts? That's... Radio listen, listen, and talk. That is the WD-40. This thing is not even worthy of my good contact cleaner. Come on. Well, we're here, we might as well. Airplane! Airplane in the sky! Airplane, everybody! Okay, let me squirt a little in the volume control. WD-40 actually works okay. Who knows how much damage it does and how long it lasts and all that, but it actually works okay. Sonic Servant. Now check this out when I unplug it. Is this cool or what? Wow. You know, the more I look at the faceplate of this thing, it is just a prize. Check out the civil defense marks on this. I've never seen them like that on a radio where they actually say CD. This thing is just cool. If this was new, this would be like in a museum or something. Alright, so trying to be serious about the Sonic Servant. Obviously the filter is dead. So, usually on these All-American 5 style radios, especially in a hot signal environment like I am, you will pick stuff up even with a completely dead filter. But it's not picking anything up. I'm going to try changing this 12BE6. Alright, I've tried two 12BE6s and I tried changing the 12BA6IF. And nothing. Okay, we have a dual section filter cap, we have a primary and a secondary. Where's the resistor that goes between the primary and the secondary? Alright, this looks to be our resistor between the two filter sections. So there's a primary filter right off the tube, then it goes through the resistor, and there's a secondary filter. I don't much care about the secondary. I'm gonna just bridge something big in here and just see if it'll... These airplanes are really starting to get on my... Alright, I bridged in there a Nichicon 220 at 200 volt. And let's power her up here and see if she... Actually... Well, that's today's world, that you'd have to have a female servant, but probably not when this was built. Here we go. Here's our filter voltage. Ooh.
Visit Minnesota at 5 in Game 2 of the WNBA Finals. That's sports on the home of the LA Kings, 790 KABC. KABC News Time 10. If you wanted to be precise about your top three.
Speaker is shot.
웨스트나일 바이러스에 감염된 증세는 뭔가요?
그것이 참 질문도 많이 오는 면역력이 정상인 경우는 뭐 며칠 열감을 이렇게 느끼고 구토 증상을 보이다가 회복이 되지만 이것이 이제 한 150...
Some things just sound better through a distorted, clipping, rubbing speaker.
조만간의 증상을 보이고 그만해야지. 시력까지 있고 의식불명에 빠지다가 시력을 하직할 수도 있다 이런 얘기 아주 심각해버려.
심각합니다.
아주 심각해.
그렇다면 예방법은? 그 콘서트를 하는. Shafton, if the allegations are true, they will take the needed actions. Margaret Carrero, KNX 1070 News.
Alright. What brand of tube is this? Arcturus? I have never heard of an Arcturus tube. Okay, I hook this up to number 1. Okay, so on phono, of course, it wants a phono input there. On radio,
Take me to the hub on LA Oldies. Chaser.
Come on, everybody!
it's playing out of both. It's playing out of both speakers now, but I guess that would be based on what the switch was on the individual zone or remote speaker. So that's radio listen, that's this speaker only. Okay, so talk. Check. 1.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Yeah, so that works.
Huh. So then I wonder how you talk back to this one. So that's listen. So, oh yeah. Okay, so if I talk into this one,
Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2.
so if I talk into this one now, it'll come out of this one, and if I turn this, then it makes this the microphone and this the receiver. Okay, that makes sense. Very simple. Did I just cremate it? I did, it won't work anymore. Oh, there we go. Switch is flaky. So that must be what this 12AV6 right here is for. Because I pulled this out with the radio on. So this must just be a preamp.
La palabra de Dios nace la inspiración del mensaje que Noel Díaz tiene.
Okay, here's something interesting about this thing too. So we're at 23 watts right now. If I turn the power off, it keeps the filaments heated the whole time. It's instant on. And yeah, it does sound like crap. Like the audio output tube is just completely just baked to death. And of course the 50 volt tube would probably take the majority of the brunt in an always on, instant on, heated filament situation. But yeah, it's instant on. This is not Energy Star compliant. Can you imagine this thing just sitting there guzzling up 18 watts 24 hours a day? I mean, that's hardly anything, but still. Makes me wonder if the new tone in the house is instant on. I wonder if it's heated all the time, because if it is, it's getting disconnected. Well, that's interesting. You know, I wonder how many people would like to have a classic rock. Actually, this is like oldies or surf rock. Commercial-free AM station in their town. Think about that. But check this out. With the radio on just in the Sonic Servant, the microphones are still hot.
Oh, truck one too. You can do this kind of mixed. You can do a sing-along. That's right, I'm gonna get a copyright strike.
Oh, this does use a couplet. Right there it is. So our cathode voltage on this tube is 2.9 volts. You think that's a little bit of a dead tube? Usually that should be up probably around 7 or 8 volts. And as the tube gets weak, that voltage drops because it's not conducting as much. And the B plus on this guy is 130 volts. So yeah, that 50L6 is done. Think we could get some reverb going on here? Let's see. That's right.
Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my resurrection of the Sonic Servant. And I will not be restoring this because I have no use for it other than parts. It is very cool, though. I might take the faceplate off and hang it on the wall. And I kind of like the effect. Maybe I could make a new guitar effect out of this thing. What do you think? How's that sound? Hello? Anyway, Sonic Servant. Resurrected from the junk bin. And now I'm going to remove the capacitor and put it back in the junk bin. Thank you for watching. More to come later.